Hey guys, Board Bob here. The time has come. I have been playing Factorio for a long time. It's been in early access for a long time. As of today, it is now being released as a full game. We are on 1.0. So it's been a long time in coming. So I thought in celebration of that, we'd go ahead and we'd do a series on it. So one of the things with these games, because Steam games in general, what have you, you can earn achievements, and I've done most of the vanilla achievements for this game, and without going in and modifying the achievements in Steam, which I just refuse to do, I find it as being a little cheaty. Hey, Joe Mama's playing 7 Days to Die again. All right. I'm going to do this as a modded game so that I can track my achievement once again, because what I thought I would do is in celebration of this, I'm going to go back and redo the Lazy Bastard achievement. It's been a long time since I did it. It's, the name is Lazy Bastard, but it's anything but. Basically, the premise is you craft everything in machines. You don't craft anything in your hand, and it makes it that much harder because you got to keep going back to the factory and stuff like that. So we're going to do that with some mods, and what we're going to do is we're going to do the space exploration mod, and most of these other mods support that mod. That's why they're in here. There's a couple that don't, that are just things that I added. Warehouses, I added warehouses. Bulk reloader or bulk rail loader, I added. Mini loader I added, nanobots I added. They're just going to make things a little easier for us. The ruins mod I added as well, and these two, according to this, are incompatible with the current version, so they probably won't run, so we don't have to worry about them. But what the ruins mod does is it adds extra buildings. Like, you're not the first person that's been to this planet. Somebody else has been there before and they've died and left their buildings. So we're going to do that. And I'll explain in a minute my reasoning behind doing that. So we're going to go ahead and get this set up. We're going to go new game. We're going to go free play. And one of the things I'm going to do, because I've had, if anybody has looked at my preview little mini series that I did prior to the to 1.0 coming out, you know that the map that I was on had no iron outside of the starting point, at least anywhere in a reasonable distance. So one of the things I'm going to do for this is I'm going to up my resource availability by a little bit, not a ton. I'm just basically doubling it as far as frequency and richness. We're going to set those at 200 apiece just because. Terrain, we're not going to screw with anything. I could change the cliffs. I'm not going to change the cliffs. The cliffs are a pain in the ass, but I'm going to leave them be just because we're doing so many other things and make it a little easier. We need a little bit of a challenge. Enemy, we're going to change our starting size to 200%. Just because at the end of the day, it's not going to affect anything except for our startup, so to heck with it. Advanced, we're going to change our research queue to always. Now, the way the game works is you don't get an extended research queue where you can queue up a bunch of stuff and it just automatically goes from one to the next until after you've launched your first rocket. Well, I've launched a lot of rockets in this game. I've played this game, I'm on almost 3,000 hours at this point in this game. So we're going to change that to always, just because. Now we're going to go into mod settings real quick. And there's a couple of things I want to change here. I'm not going to change any of these startup things. They're the things that bring the particular mods that we're using into the game. But on map, one of the things I'm going to change is space exploration meteor interval. This is the interval at which we get hit with meteors from outer space. Now right now it's set to 20, which means randomly from 1 to 20 minutes we get a meteor strike. I'm changing that. We're going to change that to 50. We're still going to get hit by a meteor at least once an hour that way, but we're not going to get hit as often as what we did before. The meteors blow up your equipment and what have you. If they hit your equipment, it just seemed to be a lot of them to me before. The other thing I'm going to leave, this bulk rail loader, allowed items in the bulk rail loader, you can change this to be everything. I'm not going to. The bulk rail loader kind of, to me, it's a bin that goes over top of the railroad tracks and loads bulk into your, into your cargo trains. For me, that just seems to make things make sense on that. So we're going to confirm these. Now, one of the things I will do is I will put this down in the doobly-doo at the bottom. But I have a seed that I'm going to use for this, and the reason is, again, because I had problems with the last map. So I went and I looked at this map again. I didn't do a ton of exploring or anything like that. I just wanted to make sure that the resources were there, because the preview map kind of lied to me. It said stuff was there that wasn't there. So we're going to go ahead and check this out. 2455357625. Okay? And there's our map. We're going to start in this area here. And I did check, some of these outlying things. They are there. So we've at least got a fighting chance to start this game. I will put this down in the doobly-doo if anybody wants to follow along on this map or try this map themselves. I'll throw it down there. So let's go ahead and hit play. And they've added in a cutscene in at the beginning as part of 1.0. It's always been canon that you basically have crashed on this alien planet. Your task to launch a rocket into space. You need to research advanced technologies in order to unlock a rocket silo. Start small, work your way up with automation. Don't forget to protect yourself from the natives. Yes, there are natives here that will kill you. You can go through all the ticks and trips. There's a lot of them here. They are very informative. I recommend you do it. We're going to go ahead and close off the information-tron right now. Now this cut sequence at the beginning is kind of overlaid on top of the space exploration cutscene as well. There's some of this is this spaceship parts are from the new cutscene, but there's also parts that are flung all about here from the space exploration mod, because one of the things they do in the space exploration mod is they give you some things to start. And one of the things they give you is a burner assembly machine, because you're starting with steam power on this base, or not even steam power, like wood power and coal power. So the Lazy Bastard achievement, like I say, you can craft up to 111 items in hand. I am going to try, because they give us an assembly machine to begin with, and because of the Ruins mod adding a few odds and ends buildings to the game, I think I can make all the way to Lazy Bastard and not craft anything by hand. That's going to be my goal. That's what I'm going to try and do. We're going to see if we can do it. Now, there are ways to turn off crafting in hand so that it will prevent you from crafting anything by hand. I'm not going to do that. We're going to leave it turned on. We're just going to clean up some of these materials from the wreck, because they will give us some starting materials. I want to see if I can do it and have the button discipline, if you will, to not delete my to not accidentally screw up. Now I'm going to clear up all these outlying things. Some of them are part of the opening cut of the game. Some of them are part of the space exploration mod. But I'm going to go through and pick up all of the little odds and ends pieces. I have not decided yet if I want to leave the spaceship itself. Like I say, I'm going to clean up the little pieces. And I think I got all of them. I don't know if I'm going to leave the spaceship itself or not. I haven't decided yet. We are going to take the ammo out of it. But the spaceship itself, I may leave it. I haven't decided. So there it is. We've got that. So, like I say, the first thing this is going to do is it's going to give us certain items. And it's going to, one of the things it's going to give us is it's going to give us our own or assembly machine right off the bat. So, I think we're going to go ahead and try and do this without crafting anything by hand. We'll see if it works. First thing we're going to want to do is we're going to start making iron plates. And in order to do that, we're going to need fuel anyway. Trees burn. So I'm going to go ahead and clear out this iron patch so that we know where it is. I'm going to grab this stone that's up here because we're going to need some stone. I'm not going to go through right now and clear all of it off of, you know, our starting area, but I am going to start to kind of get a feel for what the size of this iron patch is, because we are ultimately going to want to clean off this whole iron patch so that we can access it. And since we're going to need fuel for our smelter, we may as well just go ahead and get started. Now, one thing that if any of you guys, like I say, have watched that preview little mini episode that I did, I did make a few blueprints for that episode, and I have carried those blueprints over just so we're not having to reinvent the wheel. So I am going to use those, but I don't think I'm going to use any of my blueprints from my previous games. I think those we are going to go ahead and develop as we go, because this is a new version of the game. Some of them probably wouldn't work anyway. And I'm not, for the same reason, probably, I can't say for certain, I'm probably not going to use anyone else's blueprints either. I think we're going to try to avoid, now I may go and look at other people's stuff if I'm trying to scratch my head and figure something out. I'm not going to do that on camera and bore the hell out of you guys with it. If I do, we will look stuff up later if I'm really kind of stuck on a more efficient way of doing something. There are a number of channels out there that I watch when it comes to Factorio, and I will put them down in the doobly-doo. I will link to them so that you guys can check them out, because there are far smarter people than I am when it comes to this game. I don't have the wherewithal, time-wise, etc., either mentally or physically, to dedicate a crazy amount of times to memorizing, you know, ratios and things like that. You'll pick some of that up as you play the game, but in general, I have too many other things on my mind to you know, keep that all stored away. So we're going to put down our burner drill, and we're going to put down our one lone furnace, and we're going to fuel both of those up And for now, we're going to fuel them up with wood. I'm only taking half a stack. I mean, we've got plenty of wood, but there is no sense in wasting materials. So while that's doing that, we're going to go gather some more stone. Stone is what allows us to build more furnaces, and we're going to need a lot of them to begin with, because our furnaces are what provides the power to any of the equipment we build initially. So a lot of it requires a furnace inside of it. It also is going to allow us to ramp up our production and smelt more of our resources. So we're just going to go ahead and grab up a bunch here, since we got to wait for that to make iron plates anyway. Alright, so throw down our factory, and again, it needs fuel. First thing we're going to do is we're going to tell it what to build, and we're going to build a bunch of stone furnaces. We're going to fuel it up with some trees, and we're going to get it running. Now, if I push the Alt button, it'll allow me to see what's being manufactured in these. It's a handy little thing. I usually keep it turned on all the time. Another thing that they have changed in the game is you can color your person now. I believe it is it under settings? Maybe not. The crafting character, there it is. Under character, they've changed the GUIs now. I can change my settings around to what, you know, what I like them to be or whatever. So if I wanted to change my guy to purple, I like purple. It also is a different way of laying out what you're carrying and stuff. So that's going to take some getting used to. But anyway, now we're purple. And in a multiplayer game, because you can play this game multiplayer, that can come in very handy. We're going to go ahead and let it craft some more of these. Basically, it's a little slow starting off. Once you get really rolling with this, it'll get faster because you'll be able to pick things up. But with Lazy Bastard, because you can't craft anything in hand, or very few things in hand, the start of the game is a little slow, because you're waiting on it to do things all the time. So what we're going to do is we're going to bang this out, and we're going to convert all of these at once to forges, because they call them furnaces in this game. I'm used to 7 Days to Die, which calls them forges. You may see down here, I did not turn the pop-ups off for Steam. Army buddy of mine, Joe Mama 1973, just recently started playing 7 Days to Die himself. I brought him over to the dark side, folks. So he just kind of started playing it, so he may pop up here. He's trying to get his videos together. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to make iron gear wheels, because these things we need for everything, and I mean everything. So we're going to make a bunch of those next, and once we have enough of them that we can start making some additional drills, we'll make some additional drills. We just want to start stocking up on them. And we're about there. Alright, let me grab whatever's left over here. This should be just about finished. Good. All right, so now, and we've only got the one factory, so we kind of got to keep switching back and forth right now. So we're going to go back. All right. We should be doing this too, and we're not. And we'll do it with a couple of them. We made all of these furnaces. Let's grab some more stone because we need bricks. One of the keys to this game is to remember your ABCs. And this is something I learned from another YouTuber on playing 7 Days to Die. That's his kind of little theme. Is ABC stands for Always Be Crafting, and it's a guy called Cage848 who does a lot of 7 Days to Die stuff. He's kind of funny. You know, might want to check him out too or whatever. We're going to put wood in these, and we're going to put stone in them. And if I have something in my hand, and I hold down left control, and I can either right click or left click. If I left click, it'll put a whole pile in. If I right click, it'll put half a pile in. So I put half a pile of wood in each of these, and a full pile of stone in each of these. And then it'll fill it up all the way to whatever max is, as long as you got them in your hands. And then if you have nothing in your hand, if you hold down left control and the left mouse button, you can pick out whatever is in the item without having to go in and get it. So now we have some stone bricks, we have some gears, we have some plates, but we still can't make drills because we need motors. So we have to go here, go to motors, and motors require plates and gears. So now once I'm in this interface, I can either one at a time take this stuff up here, or I can hold on a blank spot, hold down control, left mouse click, and it'll automatically fill these up to the maximum. Once again, motors are something you need a lot of. They're the basis for a ton of things. If anybody has played this game before, belts are pretty easy to make. They're gears and plates. Well, in this particular mod, you also need motors. You need one motor for every 2 belts. So motors become a thing that you need a ton of. So we're going to go ahead and start making a bunch of them. We're not going to use up all of our gears. We're just going to use up, you know, what we've got in here up to the amount of plates we've got. Now we can go in here and we can make our drills. We're just going to left click with control. Go ahead and let that start making them. And we'll let it run and let it make all the ones it'll make. How are we doing on that? Okay, so we can go ahead and pick these up now because we're about done with them for the time being. And we're low on plates because it's 7 plates per. We got 2. We want, let's see, 1, 2, 6, 8, 9, 10. We probably want about 10 more of these drills. And the reason for that is we have other resources that we need. All right. We're going to let this go ahead and cook. We're going to put another one down next to it just to kind of double our output on these. We're going to go on up here. And you can see on our little map, there's where our copper is. So we're going to get copper started because it's a little bit of a walk away. We'll take the opportunity to pick up a few resources on the way. We're going to put down 2 drills. get our copper production started. We don't need it right now. We'll pick up what little bit of plate is there. We're going to go ahead and let that cook. We're going to come back down to our iron. And we'll pick up our iron plates. And we'll continue to march on our grills. So we got 5. We need 1 more there and 1 more after that. We need 6 more. 6 total. There we go. Okay. So now we have 6 of them. We can go ahead and have this start something else. I don't think, yes, we do have a burner lab, and we do have this, so we can actually get this started. Let's go ahead and get our research started. I'm just going to put coal in this one because we'll have enough coal soon enough. And we're going to pick our researches. So the first thing we're going to want is basic automation, because that's going to give us our ability to make our assemblers. We won't have really good assemblers to start, but we'll definitely have assemblers. We're going to want belts, so that's going to be our next research. We're going to want a submachine gun as opposed to the pistol because of rate of fire, so we're going to go ahead and start researching that. We're going to want walls. All of these so far are 10 research, so they're small research, so we're grabbing them first. Next, we're going to want to be able to have splitters and underground belts. So we're going to get that one started. Now you see this one's orange as opposed to yellow. That means it needs another research done prior. So it needs this basic logistics, which we're already doing. So then it'll open that up. The nice thing about this tree is the ones that are coming next will be orange, so we can actually grab them and put them on our queue. That's the nice thing about opening this queue up. We're going to want turrets, so we're going to start researching turrets. And finally, we are going to want electricity. That's going to give us electric motors. It's going to give us our very first production for electrics, which is the burner turbine. It's going to give us electric inserters and power poles. We're going to want that. So we're going to get that started. Now we only have enough science packs for 1 initial research, but at least we got it started. We're going to go over here, and if we look on our map, here's where our coal is and here's where our stone is. So we're going to go over here to our coal, and we are going to start harvesting our coal. There is a day and night cycle in the game. You can turn that off to make it daylight all the time. So there's those alerts. See, so somewhere over here, one of those meteors fell. Now they're falling far away, but they won't always fall far away. Sometimes they will fall right on top of our stuff. And as the game progresses and you get technology, one of the things you can build is you can build rocket towers that will shoot down the meteors and protect you. But like everything in the game, they take resources to build, they take resources to keep stocked, and you have to dedicate either yourself to going over and restocking them by hand, or you have to automate it, which means bots and inserters and belts and things like that. So the whole game encourages you to automate everything. That's the whole point of this game. If you're one of these people that likes to mess about with automation and computers and all kinds of things like that, oh my, this game is for you. In a previous life, when I was in the Army, I was an electronic technician. I did instrumentation stuff, and part of that was working on process control modules and things like that. So this game is kind of right up my alley. It scratches a lot of my itches. So there we go. So there's our coal. So one of the things we're going to do is if I put this down and it outputs, it's going to output into something. I can put a chest there and have it output into the chest. Or I can use a little trick, and what I can do is I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, oops. So the arrow shows where it's going to output to. So the way I've set this up is this one is going to output to this one one's going to output to this one, on around. And each of these will hold a maximum of 50, which is a stack. So by feeding them into one another, I can put one piece of wood in this, and it will start to mine. And as soon as it mines a piece, it puts it in here. And this one will mine a piece and put it in here, and so on and so forth. And as these get going, all of these will start to produce. And coal, of course, lasts a lot longer. And these will eventually fill up. And when they fill up, they'll stop mining. But I'll have 50 items in each of those. I'll have 50 coal in each of those. Now I don't have to have a storage box, and it just automated itself in our first little automation that's self-feeding. Now it'll continue to harvest coal over and over and over again. Now, one of the things I want to build that I did not build before I went over there, I want a wooden chest. And I really only want one for now. We're going to take that wooden chest, and we're going to go over here, and I should have taken it with when I first went. The sound design on this game is really pretty good too. Is we're going to go down here to our stone patch. Like I told you before, stone is key for a lot of things. One of the things it's key for is building stuff, but it is also a major factor in our defense, because that's what we build walls out of. Now, I don't have inserter technology yet, so this will self-insert into whatever you put next to it. So I could put a furnace there, but then I can't get the stuff back out of the furnace because I don't have the tech yet for it. So all I'm doing is I'm going to put down a box, and it's just going to start filling that box up. And we're just trying to get ahead of ourselves a little bit with that ABC philosophy of always crafting, so that we can continue to move forward. So now that we have everything going, I'm just going to use, because we got plenty of trees. If I was trying to save wood, I'd have to be real careful. But we are in an area that has plenty of trees. I'm going to get that fueled up. We ran out of science. Now to make science, we need two things. We need copper and we need iron plates, or iron gears. So we're going to snatch this out. We're going to get this started on making iron gears. And then we're going to go up and get what copper because we already started our copper processing. Now I know we're running back and forth a lot. It takes a lot of time right now, and that, kind of slows things down. Like I said, initially this game starts out slow, and then it really kind of picks up. We're going to go ahead and get the rest of these trees off of this patch. We need fuel anyway. Here very soon you're going to see a large turnaround in the amount of running around we do, because we are working our way towards automating all of this. That's why I selected the technologies to research that I did. The factories are going to let us build more items, because we only have the one factory right now. Once we have several, we can put them all down and dedicate each one to building a single thing, instead of having to switch back and forth. Conveyor belts are going to allow us to carry the stuff to a central location, as opposed to having to run back and forth between the two all the different ore patches. The thing with it is, along with production comes pollution. The more pollution we produce, the bigger our pollution cloud gets. The bigger our pollution cloud gets, the more likely we are to make the current residents of this planet angry at us. When I get down here, I'll show you what I mean by the pollution cloud. Bring up our map, and as you remember, we only had that little spot right here where we crashed. Now you see our pollution has spread because we're harvesting around these areas and what have you. This up here and this down here are from the ruins mod. Those are little pieces of something that we can eventually go and harvest. They're probably walls. We can harvest those and use them later. Alright, so we've got that. Now let's convert this over to start making our science packs, our red science packs. And we'll have that make as many as we can. And that we'll start getting our research going. And we'll put it in there. We have the time. We're going to go over here and we're going to pick up our coal. Because as you can see, these have actually stopped because they're full. So again, if we left control, left click, and we can pick up all the coal in each of them. Now we've got a good supply of coal, and it'll continue to build up. Now I know that I'm going to be bringing the coal over to where we're working, so I'm going to start clearing a pathway through the woods, because we can't lay down belts on top of trees. The trees will be in our way, so we're going to start cutting a path, because we're going to always be doing something in this game. Maybe something boring like cutting down trees, but we're always got to be doing something in this game. And if you're not, if you're standing around idle because you're waiting on something to happen, then you're wasting your own time. And as the game progresses, the natives on the planet will evolve because of the pollution, so they get stronger as time passes. So it behooves you to not sit on your laurels in this game and always be doing something. Now all I'm doing, I'm walking with the WASD keys. You know, it's a pretty standard game thing. I'm cutting the trees down by holding down the right mouse button, and you see the little block, the little yellow box that forms over it. If you get a red box, you're too far away, or you don't have what you need, or something like that. Move a little closer. Like I can't grab that one, but I can move a little closer to it. And I'm just going to back and forth till I get a little bit of a path here. And you know, this is going to do two things. One, it's going to clear our path that we need to be able to run our belts, but it's also, you know, every little bit of this is resources. And this is a very resource dependent game. Trees are fuel, but you can also, as we saw, make crates with them. Later on, very soon, we'll be able to make telephone poles with them, power poles. And we will make the small telephone poles. Now the small poles don't have a very far reach, but they are your starter poles. As your technology progresses, you'll have poles that have a larger reach or a larger area of effect. It's all about getting better as time goes on. And I think after this run, we'll have a wide enough path. I like to make my path wider than what I need for the belt, just because I like to be able to see what I'm doing. Eventually, those trees will die off because of the pollution. It's a trade-off. Living trees filter out pollution. So they help with your pollution cloud. They keep it reduced. But after your trees go, you'll see on the map there's areas of trees and stuff like this. Your pollution cloud will actually curl around those because the trees are sucking up and blocking part of your pollution. Over time, the trees will die. And when they die, your pollution cloud will spread further because there are no trees to stop it. So it's kind of a trade-off. Trees are wood for fuel and for building materials, but living trees protect you. So it's all interconnected. And you have to kind of maintain a balance. So while that's still cooking, we're going to do the same thing we did for our coal. We're going to do for our copper. We're going to make sure we have a path coming down from our copper and we should have, but we're also going to pick up resources while we're here. So now we're going to grab our copper. We're going to make sure we have a path coming down that's clear for our copper. There we go. We've finished our first research. And it's T to open the research tree. So we've got our basic logistics are finished. We've got our basic automation finished. So now we can build some factories and get that started. And you can see our tech tree is huge. There is a ton of stuff that we're going to work our way through. Some of it is for the space exploration mod, and that stuff we won't need to launch our first rocket to quote-unquote win the game. But we're going to continue to march. This is not going to be a short, oh, we're done. This is going to take us some time. Alright, so we're going to turn this off as soon as this one is cooked. We might as well wait for it to at least cook this one. Alright, there we go. So we'll put these ones in here. Now, what do we need to make more factories? We need motors, we need bricks, and we need plates. So E for is our inventory. We have some motors, we have some bricks, we have some plates. Now we can start making some factories, and we can start increasing our production. We're going to make, let's make 10. There it is. Alright. So now we can send this back to doing what it was doing, which is to make science. Because now we have more factories. We can go ahead and we can start them doing other things. And one of them is going to make plates. Just plain and simple, it's going to make plates. One of them is going to make wires. We need copper wires for our electric poles and things like that. And then one of them is going to make motors, because we need motors. So we're going to have one of them start making motors. It can't make motors yet because we need this. Now we have some of those, we can start making motors. And we're just going to have these ones. We're just going to keep filling them and hand jamming them as time goes on. You'll see that the biggest need one is going to be our belt, our gears. But the reason we're going to start making motors is because we're going to need a buttload of them to start making conveyor belts. So there we go. We've got another technology researched. We're going to keep harvesting resources. And we're going to open up our path for our stone. In the SpaceX mod, different biomes have different effects on how quickly you walk and things like that. You don't walk as fast through sand as you do through solid ground. Same thing goes for like stones or snow. Snow slows you down some, that sort of thing. We're going to take advantage, I think, of the fact that we've already cleared, and we're going to run both of those belts through here when the time comes. We might want to lower this a little bit. So we're going to make one more run through here as we go. One of the things they've really concentrated on recently is creating high-res graphics for all of the objects. Used to be these were pretty chunky. Now they're pretty high-res. They've done a lot of improving over time for the game. And we're going to continue to move stuff around as this grows. Alright, so now we can start planning. We got a second. We can start planning on where we're going to run stuff. So we're going to bring our belts down from here, and our belts up from here, and our belts over from here. And this central area right here, I think, is where we're going to start doing our smelting for our iron plates and for our copper plates, because those are the basis for pretty much everything. And then I think we're going to potentially run a bus of all of our stuff straight down. We'll get rid of these cliffs at some point, possibly, or we'll run past them or something. We'll see how that works out. But this has us started on our... we need more iron. Soon we won't be as hurting for iron because we will have that automated. But in the meantime, we only have the two because we want to keep our pollution as concentrated in an area as we can. We don't want to spread it all over the map. Right now we have pollution producers here, 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 because of the individual burners. We're going to try and make a centralized power plant. Even electric miners create pollution, but they create pollution less in that area. We can concentrate it more on our power plant. So we're going to try and make sure we do that. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and continue to pump that into science. We should have, yeah, we got a decent enough motors now. We're going to turn that to make it something else. We're going to continue to produce gears because we're always going to need gears. But this, we're going to change it. We're going to start making belts with this. Now you see, it needs a plate and a belt. So if we put, or an engine. So if we put a plate and a motor in here, you can see you get 2 belts. 1, 2. So you can well imagine just how many motors this is going to take to make a decent amount of belts. So once we get automated, we're going to want to automate motors because we're going to need them for our belts. Right now we're just we're not really hand jamming, or we're not really hand creating anything. We're creating it in factories, but we're having to hand jam all of the stuff into the factories individually to keep it going, and that takes a lot of our time. But we can start getting set up now for bringing everything in, and we'll go up here with our copper. And we're going to pick up our copper while we're here. I'm not going to refuel that one because we're close to where we need to be. And we're going to bring a line down. And we're going to just come, you know, midpoint, give or take. We're looking at our small map here. Pick up any additional ones that we can pick up. Start building more. Like I say, I think we're going to leave our spaceship alone as best we can. And we're just going to start bringing our belt over. We're not able to run anything yet. We're just kind of setting up for our infrastructure. So that when we are ready to throw down our miners, we can have it all going. We're just kind of widening that up since we've decided we're going to bring our stone down here. We're going to continue to widen that out. All right, let's see how many. We have 50. We're gonna want a number more of those. We should be done with this. We're gonna start that building more. We're gonna go up here now, and we're gonna start planning out. Oops. We're gonna need a couple of belts just for measuring. All right, we got belts. So, for our first smelting operation, because everything right now requires fuel, we're going to have to supply our furnaces with both raw materials in the form of copper and iron, and fuel in the form of either trees, which we can't really automate picking up right now until we have bots, so we'd have to cut them down by hand, which is a pain in the ass, or coal, which we can automate the mining of coal, right? So we have to plan for supplying both to those. So what we're going to do, and I think this will give us enough room here, I'm going to put down a belt just as a reference point, and then we're going to put down a furnace, skip one between them, and then skip one again and put down a belt, skip one again and put a furnace, skip one again and put a belt. Now we're going to run out 20 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right? So we're going to do 2 rows of those. Then we're going to do the same thing again for iron. And we're going to eventually move this because we're going to need a lot more space for this sort of production than what we got right now. Space thing. Space belt. Space furnace. Space belt. This is just getting our initial going. Now we've already got 1 row laid out, so we can use that as reference and just kind of keep an eye on it. And there we go. We're out of furnaces, but we've got more started already. Get down here and get them. We got to refuel stuff again. And eventually we will have all of that automated so we don't have to worry about going down here, and we'll make 1 more set because we're going to need them anyway. We won't have to worry about fueling stuff up. Now, we don't have inserters yet, so we can't lay our inserters down. This is just getting us started. That we're laying out our initial infrastructure, as much of it as we can. Because there's no sense sitting on our laurels. Alright, so now this goes back to making motors, right? This goes back to making plates. That's going to make motors. Put our science in there. It's a process, you know. So what's going to happen? What we're setting up here is basically this. We're going to have our iron and our coal come in and feed into these furnaces, and then the furnaces are going to feed out into here. And we're going to take advantage of something that you can do in this game. We have this belt, and I'll show you. You can put stuff on either side of this belt. You can put stuff on that side, you can put stuff on that side, you can put stuff on the whole thing, right? So, we're going to take advantage of that process. And what we're going to essentially do is we're going to put, let's say this is stone, I know, but let's say this is iron. We're going to put iron on one side, and we're going to put coal on the other side. So then both of those items will be available to each of these furnaces. And we're going to put a little inserter, which is basically a robot arm, and it will pull off of these and put them on here and add both of them to this furnace. And then that furnace will produce iron plates, and it'll put it out here and put it on this plate. Now the thing with inserters, and you'll see this when we put them down. If my inserter's here, it's going to put the item down on the opposite side of the belt. So all of these are going to fill this opposite side of the belt. If I only had 1 row, it's only going to fill half the belt. By putting down 2 rows, it's going to fill the whole belt. We're going to have a full belt. So this is going to get us started. We're going to have a lot of iron plate production and a lot of copper production very soon. Because right now we're researching electricity, which is going to give us our inserters. Oops, we didn't grab those. There we go. Where are we at? We got 25. We're doing pretty good on research. right now we're just kind of limited by how much these two produce. We don't have a whole lot. We can't make a whole lot. But you will see as time goes on that we will be ramping this production up pretty rapidly. Now the question is, how do we get this to come in here and put half and half? Well, now that we have some of our research done, we are going to use what is called a splitter. And a splitter looks like this. And a splitter is going to take a motor, a transport belt, and an iron plate. So we'll put in a motor, 4 transport belts, and 8 iron plates. How many motors? 4 motors. 1, 2, 3. There we go. So now we have a splitter. We're going to want a couple of them. Okay. And we have to continue to march on making them because we're going to need a lot of them. Alright, so now we have that splitter. What we'll do is we'll take that splitter up here. And that splitter will go here. Now, we have 2 ways we can put stuff on a belt. We can just, you know, keep it coming and it'll go like that. Or, if we do this, notice how this tail is now straight again. Anything coming on this belt will drop on this side of the belt. Anything on this belt will drop on this side of the belt. Now I can put 2 different items on this belt. So, we're going to use that to our advantage. We're going to put that coming in there. We're going to come down here with the copper. We're going to come up there with the coal, right? And then if we take that, oops, and go like this. So the splitter will take that one belt and put it 50-50. So everything that's on that one belt will go half here, half here. And since we're feeding that belt from both sides, copper will come down on one, coal will come down on the other. We'll have a copper and coal on this, and then that will go copper coal and copper coal. We're going to do the same thing down here. Right, so now we're going to have iron and coal and iron and coal, and we'll split there as well. Alright, time to pick some more technologies. We're going to want drills, mining drills. We're going to want electric ones because we're going to want to be able to do this without having to go and refuel them constantly. So that's going to be our first research. Alright, then we don't want to have to refuel our factories all the time. So we're going to take assembler machine 1s, which is automation, so that we don't have to fuel them all the time. We can power them with electricity. We need electricity. So we need basic fluid handling is going to give us offshore water pumps and pipes. That will allow us to bring water to our power plant so we can make steam, so we can make electric. So we're going to do that. That is going to open up boilers and steam engines for us, which are going to be a better way to make electrical power than what we're doing right now, which is nothing. So that'll give us that. Then, what do we want after that? That becomes the question. Metapacks, Fuel processing. Nanobots we really kind of want, but right this very moment we're going to not go for them. We're going to take steel, because what that's going to give us is steel axe. Steel axe is going to make harvesting things and what have you much faster. So we're going to take that. We're going to leave it at that for now. So let's see where we stand at this point. We're going to take those, put that in there. Alright, we are starting to reach the point where we're basically being slowed up by our available resources. And that's fine. That's a good problem to have, sort of. So now we are going to be coming in with our coal on top, our iron on the bottom, because we're going to bring our coal up here and split it in both directions. So let's go down here, change this to splitter, because we need another splitter. Grab this splitter. And eventually this is all going to be automated, so we won't have to worry about back and forth. So there we got our splitter. Half is going to go up here, half is going to come down here, and it's all going to come in from our coal over here. So we'll use up that little bit. So now we'll have our copper coming down, our iron going up, and our coal coming from the side. So now it's just simply a matter of building up our stockpile of iron and our belts, right? So this is going to come up. Oops, too far. There we go. Change that back to motors. And you can really kind of quickly see where this really has to be automated in order to make things function a lot better, right? Right now, we're hand jamming everything. It takes forever, but you can see where it's starting to come together. And we'll finish off this row of these while we're up here, right? We'll go ahead and go get our copper. If you're running and you got a long distance to run and the belts are going in the same direction, you're faster running on the belts than you are running on the ground. If you're running opposite the belts, then you're running down the up escalator at the mall, which I used to do as a kid. It was fun. I haven't done it in years, but I probably still could. there we go. So that is basically the start of our factory. We just now have to kind of wait for this stuff to build up, and it's a little bit at a time to build it up. But once we have our belts run, we can start worrying about our inserters and things like that. So we're going to end this episode here. I'm not going to bore you with 5 pieces of belt at a time. When we come back, all of the belts will be run. We'll take a look at it, and we'll move on to our next step in technology. All right, guys. Talk to you in a little bit. Bye-bye.